Probably the most nondescript game of the season ends with the Calgary Flames losing to the Los Angeles Kings by a 2-0 final score at the Crypto.com Arena in downtown LA. Mike Gould and Ryan Pike with you on the Afterburner, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use that code NATION. And while you're along for the ride, you can contribute to the show through the Afterburner Super Chat, proceeds from which go to the youth centers of Calgary, a place where kids are welcomed and accepted as they are, a place where they can get a break from the chronic stress that is the reality for many of their lives, and where they can flourish through connection and fun. Ryan Pike, to my left on the screen, to my right. Pike, this game was an event.
I find it very, very weird that this is the last day of the month of February, the last games of the month of February, and this is a month that we've seen the Calgary Flames play some pretty good hockey. I mean, they played a really good game to close out their pre-Olympic schedule against Edmonton to win that season series. They played a quite good game, kind of started okay, and then built on Thursday against the San Jose Sharks, winning that season series. And then they go into Los Angeles and they're, they weren't even that bad. They were just not all that good either. I mean, I'm trying to figure out hey, what do you criticize about this game? They couldn't score. Okay. What else? I mean, they defended reasonably well. The one goal they gave up, which we'll get to, the many highlights of this game, was just sort of kind of a long shift. They got caught sort of flat-footed on almost a tertiary chance, secondary chance off a secondary chance kind of thing. It was sort of a weird play, but it was one of those ones you go, okay, don't know what the goalie could have done. The guys in front of them was kind of bouncing around, but someone could have done something, but you can't really blame them too much. No one took any penalties in the first game in over 5 years. Neither team in a Flames game took any penalties whatsoever. So special teams was a wash because there weren't any. It was a game. It was 60 minutes of ice hockey, game 58 of an 82 game schedule that will end after 82 games for potentially both of these teams. And at the end of this, if tomorrow morning, before, as I'm prepping for the Anaheim game, if you ask me to recall any specifics about this game, I would struggle. It was one of those games that it was an etch-a-sketch kind of game where it happens, you go, oh, that's nice. And then you shake the thing up and you don't recall anything about it.
Mr. Watts in the chat really summing up just the entire mindset that I have. A lot of people have on this Saturday evening. Imagine getting hyped up all day to listen to the In the Dome boys on Saturday night Afterburner as usual, and you click on the video, and it's Mike Gould. That's what I say looking in the mirror every morning.
We wouldn't subject Jordan and Mike to an LA Calgary early game. We like those guys too much.
I think it's in their contract that they're only allowed to do 8 p.m. Saturday starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Boomer only does games that go to a shootout on a weeknight.
Yeah.
You and I only do games that are at odd times. Cammy and I do games with typically non-conference opponents that have weird score lines. We all have our lanes, and for Jordan and Mike, I think the only time I've seen a post game from them that wasn't an 8 o'clock start, I vividly remember I was on a Long Island Railroad train from Belmont Arena or from UBS Arena in Long Island back to my hotel in Manhattan. And I'm watching the In the Dome boys curse up a storm on a train, and I didn't have headphones, and I got the dirtiest look from a little old lady.
Oh,
I was like, I had no defense. I was like, I just wanted to see what was going on, and I was listening to it a little bit too loud. But I'll always have that memory of that old lady give me the not even a side eye, just the I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Yeah. So I got that from a stranger on a Long Island train.
I get that a lot. It was a tough one. People are in the chat are asking all about the personnel on the show. They're asking why Rhett doesn't do Afterburner. He used to. And then I think
I just think he's smarter than us.
Yeah, he's worked out some sort of agreement, I think.
I think at most he might have done 3 Afterburners, but I think if I were him, I'd say, okay, I went to 3 Stanley Cup Finals. At most, I'll do 3 Afterburners during my entire time here. He might have actually exceeded that already. I feel like we owe him for the excess Afterburners.
This is my Red impression. Oh, you want me to watch the game? Really? Oh, it It was a game. It was fine. They're playing. That's my ret. That's my ret. Do you like it, Pike? Nothing really going on this evening. It was a 2-0 hockey game. The Calgary Flames lose to the LA Kings at the Crypto.com arena.
The Crypt.
The Crypt. It's a horrible name. I was actually at the last game at which it was called the Staples Center. It was a Flames game. They were in the process of taking down the signage.
Didn't Crypto.com go bust or something?
I don't know.
Do they still exist?
I think it was SFX or STX or whatever the hell it is. I don't even care about any of that.
No, because FTX before they went under, they were sponsoring an arena out east. I think Crypto.com is a different weird company.
I think they all suck.
Anyway, Google this.
Yeah, we'll get on.
We'll spend an entire segment on the naming rights for various teams because I still think that the worst name in all of professional sports was the National Car Rental Center.
That was in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The jobbing.com arena was great in Phoenix. That was great.
Okay, just the phrasing of the National Car Rental Center, I couldn't tell out. It's like, okay, is the company name National? Is the company name National Car Rental? Like, is it a car rental center that National is sponsoring, or is it a building that the National Car Rental Company is sponsoring? It's confusing in a way I don't want to be confused when I'm thinking about what venue I'm going to go watch a game at.
Well, that's the problem. You can't say National Center because that's just confusing. Yeah. So it's Anyway,
the St. Pete Times Forum is pretty good. I like it back when newspapers existed and had enough money to sponsor things.
Pike, Dustin Wolf. He was the best player on the ice in that game against
2 games in a row
against San Jose. Best player on the ice again tonight.
Yeah, he's been very good. I mean, the Flames are fortunate enough to have 2 California goalies, the only team in the National Hockey League history to have that. And they're both pretty good. And combined, they're making less money against the cap than the goalie they're paying to not play for them.
That's right.
Which is just fascinating. Just fascinating. They have Kevin Ball and Cullen Potter, and they're paying the guy they traded to not play for them. And the 2 guys they kept are, I would argue, a better tandem than what New Jersey has right now. Life's funny like that. But yeah, 35 saves and 36 shots for Dustin Wolf. Don't really know what he could have done on the 1 goal against. He was on the bench for the extra attacker for the 2nd goal, so nothing he could have done there. He's been, he's been what they've needed him to be. This was, I believe, appearance number 114 for him in his national. 113 for him in the NHL career. He's pretty good. He's done very nicely.
I was laughing at a comment.
Nice.
If Franck and Pinder had a baby, it would be Mike Gould. I
don't know who to feel bad for.
That's mean. I'm sorry. That's really, really mean. I don't have anything else to say to that, but thank you. Appreciate it. The Flames got through the first period of this game 0-0. It was really boring. They gave up a goal in the latter stages of period number 2. We've talked a lot about Ethan Wittenbach this season and how, I'm sorry.
I'm going to correct you. NCAA leading scorer, Ethan Wittenbach. That's his new first name until someone exceeds him in points.
That's right. We've talked a lot about NCAA leading scorer, Ethan Wittenbach this season and what it means for guys to be playing in the ECAC in college. Well, it was an ECAC alumnus who got the game-winning goal.
I'll give credit to Quentin Byfield because this is just, he doesn't really have, the Flames are doing a decent enough job on his initial approach on the side of the net, guarding the front. So he just says, screw it. I'm just going to throw it into the pads and create some chaos. And that, like this, when you hear the phrase, and kids, when coaches tell you, just throw it on net, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, worst case, this puck gets frozen and they have an ozone face-off. And the best case, this happens where you create a little bit of a frenzy in front. No one in white entirely knows who's supposed to get who because there's too many guys in front. And all of a sudden, Alex Laferriere gets 2 whacks at it and he gets past your goalie. And it's the only goal scored on a guy with pads in this game.
Jack, is that the only highlight that we have from tonight's game?
What else do you want to see?
Can you create
do you have anything else saved from this one?
There's a Zane Parekh pass.
Okay, let's show that. That was pretty nice. Okay. That was Zane Parekh's best play of the game, I would say, setting up Matty Coronado coming through the middle. I mean, it was a nice pass. It was a really, Coronado gets behind Cody Ceci, gets a shot off, a couple saves there from Anton Forsberg, who put up a shutout tonight against the Calgary Flames. Calgary Flames, Pike, probably, I would say, not going to get a 20-goal scorer this season. I don't think they're going to get anybody there. Coronado and Coleman still the leaders at 14 apiece, I believe. It's a year where this team is not threatening.
Yeah, I mean, they got, what's their power play?
Not good.
Let me just, there's no power plays today. The NHL website hasn't updated with today's stats, but they didn't have any power plays.
Doesn't
the Flames
matter.
power play is 16.1%. They're tied with the Utah Mammoth for 27th in the National Hockey League.
It's awful.
The median, middle of the road. Yeah, the 16th and 17th place power plays are 20%, so that's 4% increase. Their penalty kill had no penalties to kill tonight, but they're 82.5, so they're 6th in the NHL. That is the Calgary Flames in a nutshell. They are defensively pretty good. If you're a man down, you're 6th in the league. And I think I mentioned this earlier off air. Since Yan Kuznetsov joined the Calgary Flames in early November, the Flames have, so there's two ways of looking at a power play. There is just killing the penalties against you, in which case the Flames are 2nd in the NHL. And there's, if you factor in shorthanded goals and look at goal differential, like as in if you score a goal, it wipes out a goal you've given up kind of thing, then they're 1st. So either way, since November, they are either 1st or 2nd in the NHL in penalty killing. That's very good. That's commendable. They don't give up a lot defensively. They just can't generate much offensively. So if you're trying to be glass half full, if they can get that power play going a bit, maybe that's something. Yeah, there's tons of room for improvement when you're 27th in the league in that. How about 5-on-5 offense? Nothing right home about there. They're below average 5-on-5 team. If you can get some of these young kids back in there, maybe add someone to the draft. Okay, I can. You don't have to squint too hard to imagine them getting something going. But all of these things are at least 24 games away from unfolding, and in the meantime, we have games like this.
We sure do. Back to that Kuznetsov point that you made off, Mike. You were extolling the virtues of Kuznetsov and making the case for him to possibly be the 2nd defenseman on the all-rookie team this year, because
the Calder, let's be like, barring him just becoming atrocious at hockey in the last 20-ish games of the Islanders season, it's gonna be Matthew Schaefer. It can't not be Matthew Schaefer. Matthew Schaefer is the best young defenseman in the NHL this year, and he's going to sneak onto a few Norris ballots. But I think he deserves to be, if not, I can't. Who the hell would be 2nd on the most Calder ballots? He's first.
Demidov.
Yeah, him and Demidov. Maybe Demidov might sneak on to 1st place on a couple ballots, but he'll. It feels like Schaefer's year. So who's the 2nd best rookie defenseman in the league?
Yeah, I mean, the natural candidates are Alexander Nikishin, who started in sort of a top 4 role with the Carolina Hurricanes and has kind of seen his ice time slip over the last little while. There are a couple others as well, but if you look at it, Yan Kuznetsov is 2nd among all rookies, behind only Schaefer in time on ice per game. He plays penalty kill.
He plays almost a minute more than Artem Levchinov is 3rd in average time on ice for defensemen. He plays 1 minute and 3 seconds less per game than Kuznetsov. And
Levchinov is notably currently in the midst of a sort of reprogramming directive from the Blackhawks, who just basically want to rebuild his game from the ground up.
And I have a stat for you, -30.
That's Levchinov?
That's Levchinov.
Holy
-30.
smokes.
So if you're looking at defensemen who are used a lot and play well, Schaefer, like 41 points in 60 games, +10. Yeah. Gold star, thumbs up. Can't say enough nice things about Schaefer's game. Kuznetsov, tonight's game was his 44th of the year. So 10 points in 44 games, -7 on a team that doesn't score very much. Very good penalty killer, 20 plus minutes a game. Levchinov, 19-11, 21 points, -30. Zeev Boom, 19-10, 20 points, -17. Nikishkin, 22 points, +9, 18-18 time on ice. Then we're getting to Sam Rinzel, who plays 2.5 minutes a game less than Kuznetsov. So then you're starting getting into the 10 points, guys with as much, if not fewer points than Kuznetsov and less clear roles. So I was like, my thought process was public ballots. I'm like, oh God, I could be a homer if I sneak Kuznetsov onto an all rookie ballot. I don't think he's top 5 in rookies overall. I don't think he can,
but it's positional.
It's positional for all rookie.
Flames do play tomorrow. They play against the Anaheim Ducks to wrap up their California road trip. There was somebody in the comments saying earlier, what's going on with Devin Cooley? Well, we expect to see Devin Cooley between the pipes for that game against Anaheim. Any additional lineup changes could be dictated by off-ice situations, but it does sort of feel like teams around the league are sort of waiting to get through this weekend before they really commit to anything.
This team very rarely makes changes on back-to-backs. Like they'll switch the goalie, and if everyone's healthy, I mean, they were fine tonight. Maybe you want to get Lomberg in to get a little bit of energy to the group. Like, I don't know. I don't think Perek played bad enough to be taken out. I didn't think Hanley played bad enough to be taken out. So basically, back-to-back, we heard our buddy Pat Steinberg at Flames Talk has, discussed at some length the idea of the Flames wanting to basically, minimize wear and tear, for lack of a better term, on Zane Perek. So maybe you rotate him out, just be like, okay, 3 and 4 for a 19-year-old with that frame. Maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe you give him the night off just to sort of let him reset, and then you throw him back in for the first home game on Tuesday. So like maybe you make 1, maybe 2. Like they only have 2 extra bodies anyway, but I don't think we're going to see significant changes until they have certain players unavailable. But I think that's basically the watchword for we're going to go into the next few home games going, okay, who's out for warm up?
Right. Yeah, no, that was how it was tonight, and it's how it'll likely be going forward. As it stands, really, I mean, what most people are focusing on right now is the prospect pool. And we do have some updates from the slate of NCAA Division I games that were on the docket tonight. There were quite a few of them across the United States. And one that is, they're all the ones that we're going to be talking about are all complete. One that was kind of interesting to watch was North Dakota. They took on Western Michigan. They lost to Western Michigan. Western Michigan's pretty good this year. And Nodak lost that game 4-3.
They lost, but they also parked some guys because they clinched the Penrose Cup, the NCHC conference regular season title. They're going to be the top seed in their conference playoffs. Mm-hmm. So there is literally nothing to play for. They could not hurt nor help their playoff seeding. And so some guys who've been playing through stuff or guys who've played a ton got parked tonight so that other guys get a bit of ice time.
That's right. One of the guys who did play for Nodak in this game, though, was Cole Reshny, who centered his typical line. And we haven't seen a lot of goal scoring from Cole Reshny in NCAA play this season. He scored quite a bit at the World Juniors. He had 4 goals, I believe, in 7 games with Team Canada. Entering tonight's game, Cole Reshny had 4 goals in 29 games with the Fighting Hawks this season, but he picked up goal number 5 of the year. We do have the video of it. It was a pretty nice shot from long distance to tie this game up at 3 late in the third period. Nodak did end up giving it right back to Western Michigan. This does technically count as an even strength goal for Cole Reshny, although it was just as the penalty expired. He had 3 shots on goal. He's up to 5 goals on 58 shots through 30 games this season, Pike.
How we've talked a lot about NCAA leading scorer Ethan Wittenbach, because that's his name this year, because 5th round pick, having a tremendous first year in the NCAA as an 18-year-old. So when you hear hockey folks use the term true freshman merely means that you're 18 years old during your freshman year. Colin Potter was an underage freshman. He was 17. But most players, when you come in, you're usually a true freshman. And more commonly, you see guys go in as an overage. They go in as a 19-year-old. A lot of guys go,
or even 20.
Yeah, 19 or 20, and especially with like the way with how things have gone with the way junior hockey has gone and the NCAA relaxing their rules. Like this year, there's a lot of 20-year-olds playing their first year, but 18-year-old freshman Cole Reshny. There are, I think, 3 players who have more points than him as a first-year player at his age or younger, and they are Wittenbach, Gavin McKenna, and Porter Martone.
Yeah.
That is the list. That's a pretty good list. It's the NCAA's leading scorer, the presumptive first, at worst, second overall pick in this year's draft, and a top first rounder from the previous year.
And they're all wingers.
and they're all wingers.
Yeah.
And so this is Cole Rezhny playing second line minutes, being first over the boards, penalty kill, playing power play time, playing defensive situations, being outside of he plays. There's one guy, I think it's Ellis Rickwood, who's a senior who's playing ahead of him. So he's the second line center, and he actually has better faceoff numbers than the senior. And he has, I believe, sixth or seventh after tonight's game in faceoff win percentage in this conference. So he is an 18-year-old being asked to do a lot of different things at once while adjusting to playing against men, while adjusting to playing a completely different schedule, different travel, going to school at university, which any number of these things on their own can be challenging for someone to adjust to as a human being, let alone as a fledgling professional athlete, an aspiring professional athlete. So we're going to keep saying nice things about NCAA leading scorer Ethan Wittenbach because he deserves it. But do not forget about how damned impressive Cole Rezhny has been, because for an 18th overall, 18-year-old player, holy crap, he has been fantastic this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him go pro in the next year or so.
Probably the best first post-draft season any Flames center has had in the last 10 years. I would say since
Monahan.
Yeah. I mean, Sam Bennett had a tough one.
Yeah, because Bennett had the shoulder injury, which is why he couldn't do pull-ups.
Yeah,
but he also kind of played the wing a bunch that year because he was coming off that injury, and it was a combination of they wanted to get him on the line with Backlund when he came to the NHL, but also I think when he came back to Kingston, he was sort of playing a mix of center and the wing because they were kind of making sure they didn't wreck up his shoulder on a face-off or something.
And as far as guys who didn't go to the NHL right away, we're looking
a pretty short list.
It is a real short list. Like, you're looking at Connor Zary, who kind of went to the AHL by circumstance, played on the wing there, went to the WHL again, played a very compressed schedule with Kelowna,
and he had some injury issues too that year too.
Yeah, and he got hurt again the following year, and so was more of a bit part with the Stockton Heat that year. With Rezhny, what we are seeing, here's the thing with Zary, is that when Zary had his post-draft season, he obviously played a little bit with the Heat, goes back to the Dub, and that's a level that he's supposed to be by far a dominant player at.
And he was.
And he was. I would say, though, I think relative to the expectations going into the year, Rezhny has been vastly superior.
Especially this year, where it's a brave new world.
It is.
We go in and there's so many guys going in. I have a piece coming up on the site probably early next week, just sort of looking at some of the collegiate players, because I think you got to bear the context in mind with a lot of these performances. But typically with especially 18-year-old kids, you have 18-year-old kids going into teams, and they kind of handle it like the SHL does this, where if you're a teenager going to play professional hockey in Sweden, you typically get penalty killing, bottom 6 minutes. We're seeing Theo Stocksilius play for Djurgårdens right now in the SHL because they ran out of bodies. They're completely wrecked with injuries. But he's played pretty regularly. But he's been on the fourth line typically, and that's kind of how they usually handle kids. When William Stromgren was playing briefly in the SHL before he's changed organizations, it was a lot of, all right, you're on the fourth line, you're barely going to play. And then maybe if you play well on the fourth line, the next year you'll be on the third line and maybe you'll kill penalties. And you usually got to take a while before you get some good minutes. And that's kind of how, if you look at Aiden Lane in Harvard, he's playing quite well, but he's also 18, and this is the highest level of hockey by far he's played at consistently. And he's been quite good, but he's a secondary player on a deep team. And that's usually what you see happen in the NCAA, where most other years, if someone like a Cole Rezhny, like an 18-year-old freshman, if he came in from the USHL without the draft pedigree, he would probably be someone who's sort of just, okay, you're dipping your toe in a bit, and okay, let's see what you can do. But I think because of the way things are, because he was recruited, teams like Nodak were like, holy crap, can we get Cole Rezhny? He's going to go in the first round. Did you see him at the U18s? He was fantastic. Teams were, I think there was a lot of teams who really wanted Cole Rezhny, and my guess is the sales pitch was about opportunity, and then Cole Rezhny comes in and they give him an opportunity to take on a big piece of the pie, and he's grabbed hold of it and devoured it. I think we're going to run out of hyperbole down the stretch, especially considering that, he had that injury scare too. And, if he'd been playing a bit tentative coming off that scare for a little while, he can kind of understand it, but there hasn't been any tentativeness in his game. So
No.
he's looked like a first round draft pick. And
I would say that's underselling it a little bit. I think he's looked like a top half first round draft pick.
He's been one of the better players in the NCAA this year.
Yeah, no, undisputedly. I think it is going to be very interesting to see how the Flames handle Cole Reshny as the season progresses, as North Dakota gets to the end of their run that they may or may not go on. Him and Abram Wiebe, we will see if they both turn pro, which is, I think, very, very possible as we get to the end of this season. Reshny, not the only guy in action tonight. Ethan Wittenbach, as of course we have discussed a lot, was playing for Quinnipiac tonight. And gets point number 57 on the season. And it's a nice one against Harvard here. Quinnipiac wins this game 4-1. Wittenbach has now recorded points in 32 of 36 games this year. Keeps the play alive at the point here, little backhander ahead, and that's a nice little shot from the left circle. This was the eventual game-winning goal by Schwartz. And it's funny that a guy named Schwartz scores this goal, because I think my favorite comp for Wittenbach that I have mentioned multiple times this year is Jaden Schwartz, who kind of had a similar trajectory after being drafted with a similar program at Colorado College. But it's so exciting. And a situation in which I think we could see 4 players drafted in 2025 by the Flames playing at the World Juniors this coming year. I know that is a big priority for a guy like Ethan Wittenbach, and I think with the year that he's having, he is making himself impossible to ignore.
Because what do we got? We got, off the top of my head, Reshny. Regardless of where he's playing, he'll probably be made available for the World Junior team.
I'd be surprised if Potter's not there.
Potter. Who's the fourth?
And Wittenbach.
Wittenbach?
Yeah. 4 guys.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about Potter. So 2 Americans?
Yeah, I think so.
That'll be fun. And a Swede?
I think so.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. And,
Potter probably should have been there this year.
I mean, Wittenbach probably should have been at least at the camp.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wasn't he was, you can make a case like, if you're USA Hockey, like you're putting together the list in early December, he's had 2 good months.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't Natalie on the rate? He hadn't played at the USA Hockey events at any age at that point.
Yeah,
so you can kind of get that. But Potter doesn't make any sense for me because he had a bit of a slow start, but that he'd been on the U18 team. Like he was quite good at the U18s last year.
They took some weird guys, like USA. Like they really didn't take any natural centers. Like that was the weird thing. They had Hagens, and that was basically it. They had Kamil Bednarek or whoever he was playing as their number 2 center for a lot of that tournament. It was weird. I think it's a no-brainer. The other one that's kind of cool, this is a 4th round pick of the Flames from a couple of years ago, is Trevor Hoskin, and
Atlantic Hockey's reigning Rookie of the Year.
That's right.
Now playing in a different conference,
a much better conference. Trevor Hoskin played at Niagara last year after being the leading scorer in the Ontario Junior Hockey League, not the Ontario Hockey League, the OJHL.
For the Cobourg Cougars.
The Cobourg Cougars. He was the only 100-point scorer in that entire league.
He was the most valuable player in the Junior A Hockey Challenge.
Yes.
And I believe Canada East won that year.
Yeah. A totally reasonable bet in the 4th round. Might as well just take a guy who led his league in scoring, and he did. And then he went on to be very good at Niagara. And now he's a point per game guy at Merrimack. And he had 2 goals today for Merrimack. And the first one was pretty nice. It was a breakaway goal. I think we've got it. And here it is against Vermont. And Trevor Hoskin, a guy who I think the Flames should probably sign. This is a bit of a miscue here, but it is a very nice and comfortable, confident move to go to the backhand.
Yeah, good stride. He gets some separation and then gives himself enough space to make a move.
This is a perfectly strong. He's Hockey East, right?
This is Hockey East.
Yeah,
Merrimack College plays in Hockey East.
Yeah, so very, very good level of competition. Vermont maybe not so much, but great to see Hoskin contributing. He will turn 22 in May. Sort of on the same level as a prospect as Abram Wiebe, and wouldn't be surprised if they both play decent-sized roles for the Wranglers next year.
Yeah, I mean, especially with older guys, like you kind of, they have different trajectories. Guys mature at different ages, but I'll flat out that I had heard of Abram Wiebe when the Flames traded for him.
I had not.
I looked at my thing, went, Oh yeah, I think I've seen the college guys I know tweet about him a bit. Like, you know, I looked him up when he's pretty solid. He's quietly. I mean, I think Brad Schlossman over at Grand Forks tweeted out
Grand Forks
earlier
Herald,
on.
yeah.
The top NCAA scorers in the month of February included Wittenbach, and Abram Wiebe was in the top 5. He had a fantastic February after being traded. And, you know, he almost went pro by all accounts at the end of his sophomore year, decided to go back for his junior year. North Dakota has been, as the kids say, a wagon this year.
Yes.
They have a lot of very exciting young players on the team. They are poised potentially for a long run in the spring. I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking about them around Easter time, still being active in the NCAA playoffs. But, you know, he's been a very good player for them on a very good program. And all you can really ask guys is, when you're given a role to do, can you do it well? And the answer for him is unabashedly yes. And so I wouldn't be shocked if in a few years we're looking at this trade and going, wait, they got White Cloud and Wiebe,
yeah,
and the 2 picks.
It's impressive. It is impressive. And I think we'll be getting into ELC signing season before too long here.
It starts tomorrow.
Yep.
March 1st is the first day you can sign players to contracts that don't begin until the following season.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about the weird slide rule starting tomorrow. And so I don't know if we're going to see a lot of things filed necessarily tomorrow, but I think in the next week or so leading up to the trade deadline, in addition to checking your phone and seeing if Friedman is tweeting out anything that makes you go, ooh, I'd also pay attention to potential announcements from various teams about entry-level deals for players. College players, once they announce entry-level deals, they are no longer college eligible. Yeah. So none of the college players are going to sign until their college seasons are over. But for players who are currently playing in major junior,
or in Europe,
you're going to start. Europe, they usually wait till the seasons are over.
I wonder about Theo Stuxilius, especially with what might happen next year.
I mean, his rights, the Hitmen hold his rights, and I'd be shocked if he's not playing with the Hitmen next year.
Yeah.
But I don't think you give him any LC right away.
Mm-hmm.
He's played 20 games.
True.
He's been good, though.
Lots to talk about. Hey, once those ELCs get signed, those players will need places to live, and no better guy to call if you are one of them than Derek Newman over at the Derek Newman Group, buying or selling a house, condo, townhome, or duplex in Calgary. Use the Derek Newman Group. That's DERRICK. With over 100 million in real estate sold, those clients stay with Derek. They're connected to the city with volunteers in the community. It's a no pressure, consultative approach to achieving your real estate goals. Derek is a long-suffering Massive Flames fan who is eternally optimistic, and you can visit his new website at DerekNewmanGroup.com. That is DERRICK Newmangroup.com, or call him at 403-619-6661.
I don't know. It was more beautiful that transition from ELC talk to the ad read, or your enunciation of the word consultative.
Consultative.
That is a very difficult word to say quickly and smoothly.
Hey, you know what? You gotta have certain skills, and
what are yours?
Don't have many, but I can say the word consultative with confidence. Call Derek Newman if you are about to sign an entry-level contract with the Calgary Flames, and I think there might be a few of them.
When I check my list, I'm not going to say names.
Pike's going to pull up his spreadsheet. I mean, you got Reshny, you got Wiebe, you've got Wittenbach will probably be in another year
during this stretch.
Yeah. Anybody else come to the forefront of your mind? Axel Hurtig, maybe, to play for the Wranglers next year, maybe. Yeah.
You got to play for the Wranglers this year. He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say the ones you definitely think the ones I think would be priorities. Hurtig, because I think he's been real. I know, it's a shame because the Hitmen, they're a good team. They're a fun team. They've managed to survive a lot of turnover this year. Hurtig's been so good for them. He's provided them with a lot of continuity.
He's doing radio commercials. I heard him on the radio the other day.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah. His ad reads are.
Hi, I'm Axel Hurtig. Come watch the Hitmen. It's like, all right.
Yeah, you should.
Sure.
They had a really good game against Medicine Hat the other night. But yeah, he's been good, and I think the fact is, he's done everything that's been asked of him. They came over. He had that shoulder injury. He had a good year in Sweden. Came over last year, adjusted quickly, and yeah, he seems like he'd fit like a glove for what the Wranglers need. Just a big, steady physical defensive defenseman. I'm gonna say 3-4 guys, and then there's maybe 1 or 2 that might be done later in the
Probably
spring.
Hoskin, maybe.
Once European teams finish.
What about here's one that you mentioned off mic. What's the plan with Kirill Zarubin?
I don't know, and I'm kind of curious about that because I think a lot of it depends on what their plan is. Like they have Sergeyev. I keep saying Sergeyev, but it's Sergeyev.
Is it?
I've heard Sergeyev enough times from people who are smarter than me. I'm going to say Sergeyev.
I've got no idea.
So they have Sergeyev. They got Owen Say, who's unfortunately out for the year, but he's going to be back in the fall. So don't know what's happening with Prosvetov. My guess is if I am Prosvetov and you see Cooley and Wolf with contracts into the multiple years, you probably go looking for a place where maybe you're not in the AHL. And that's his right. I think he's been good. Maybe he goes back to Russia. Maybe he goes somewhere in Europe. Maybe he goes to another NHL organization. But he's a pending UFA. And so I'm not sure what his future holds. On paper, you kind of look at Sergeyev and Say and go, that makes sense. That could be good. But
Kirill Zarubin, probably the Flames' top goaltending prospect.
I don't know, and I kind of like that. I kind of like it. That's in question. But he is, I think, a 1 point something goals against average in the MHL.
Got him with the third round pick from the Hanifin trade.
Tied for second in Russian junior hockey in wins. He's I think tied for first in appearances, top 5 in minutes played. The Mikolov Academy in Tula, Russia, has just leaned on him, and he's been very good for them. And so Russian hockey is weird. I have no idea the contractual situations. They're almost intentionally muddy. I would say if it's an option to sign him, my question would be like, is it better for him to spend another year in Russia and potentially spend time in the All Russia Hockey League, the VHL? Don't ask me how All Russia turns into V. The Cyrillic alphabet is confusing enough as is. Or do you put him in Rapid City? Do you have a rotation of guys? Because Sergeyev, I believe he'll still be on his ELC, so he'd be able to get floated down to the ECHL.
City,
But I don't know if you want to do that. And also, but Say wouldn't be able to unless you asked him politely, and maybe he'd say, cool. I don't know. Maybe you roll 3 goalies. I don't know. But I just think if you're the Flames and you're going, the kind of one of the reasons why you have a Devin Cooley is you want him and Wolf to sort of get along and have like a good relationship, but you also want them to push each other a bit, right? Because that's what makes the old iron sharpens iron thing. You want to have a good 2 to make your 1 even better. And I would think that approach probably applies in the AHL too. So like potentially if you have, say, Sergeyev and Zarubin all battling it out, that sounds kind of fun to me.
Let's make a few calls. Let's get Jordan Sigalet here. We'll do something. We'll figure out something as the season winds down.
I just think like you think every year they're probably like, because he was what Zarubin was the earliest goalie they picked in years, and it was the 3rd round, and it was like the 6th draft pick they made that year. I think at that point they're like, Jesus, Siggy, we've already picked like 5 forwards. Do you want one? You want to pick this early?
They liked him. They wanted they were looking at that kid that Vegas picked.
Yeah, Stephen Ellis had I believe him in his top 100.
Yeah, they were looking at that Moisevich kid that Vegas picked as well as Zarubin. They were both sort of seen as in the same realm.
But under the Sigalet reign, Wolf in the 7th, that's looking good. Sergeyev in the 7th, that's looking good. You find Owen Say, you advocate for the signing of Cooley as a UFA. That's turned out like even the gambles that you're like, okay, it didn't quite pan out. Like even just the idea of like, okay, you get Danil Chechelev in the 4th round. I get why they did it. And it was a decent gamble based on the information they had. Yegorov has been pretty good. He's just bounced all over the place. It's not really his own fault. He's playing on a bad team. So Dynamo Spartak they have 2 junior teams, and they put, how do I say this nicely, the bad players, the less polished academy players from Dynamo's academy, they put on Dynamo Max, their 2nd-tier team, and they play in the same league as everyone else, and they get stopped some nights. It's like long nights and high danger chances galore for Yegorov. So his numbers aren't great, but his numbers don't really tell the story. Prosvetov, you wanted some insurance in case, like, I don't know, Cooley was not great in the second half of last year, and he bounced back very, very nicely and been quietly one of the better success stories in the National Hockey League this year. So Prosvetov as Cooley insurance makes complete sense to me. So I wonder if this year, like if every year now based on his track record, they just call up Siggy and be like, just give us a list of goalies
Get us
from weird
somebody.
leagues and that you want. We'll just give you a 6th or 7th round pick every second year, and people will go, never heard of this kid. Maybe he turns out okay, and then a couple years later, you're like, this guy is the MVP of his league. Like Sergeyev, he was the MVP of the USHL the year after he was drafted, and they drafted him from the
7th round.
Shreveport Mudbugs.
Shreveport Mudbugs.
205
in the
they got
NAHL.
him. Yeah, the NAHL, a league that never produces players.
Yeah.
But you got him in from Shreveport. The year before, he was bouncing around New Jersey prep school leagues looking for games. The year before that, he was in Russia. That's wild to me. Goaltending is so weird. I don't understand it. Which is why if you're like, should they sign somebody? I don't know. He's got good numbers. But where do you put him?
Well,
that's always my question. Where's he going to get minutes?
We'll put a pen in the esoteric prospect discussion, although I'm here for it.
We're going to have, next time we do a show together, we'll have a long conversation about the politics of Russian junior hockey and whether or not Ilya Nikolaev got a fair shake from his club team in Russia after he was drafted by the Flames.
What is Rushin Rafikov up to?
Is he still playing?
Probably.
He's on the Olympic team a couple of years ago, back when they were allowed in the Olympics.
By the way, Seattle is already up 2-0 on the Vancouver Canucks, barely halfway into the first period of their game at Climate Pledge Arena. 2 goals on 4 shots from Vince Dunn and Chandler Stevenson.
Rushin Rafikov is playing for Lokomotiv Yaroslavl.
Oh, he's playing for Loco. Hey,
Yeah.
there you go.
He's been there for a while.
Wow. So there we go. That's a look at some of the guys kicking around in the Flames prospect pool. We'll have a look at the road ahead. The Flames have wrapped up their month of February. They only played 4 games, I think, in the month of February, but what are you going to do?
I think 5.
5? Yeah, something like that. Nope, 4. They went 2-2 with losses to Toronto and LA and wins over Edmonton and San Jose, and that is it. The month of March will have a lot more than 2 games, and the road ahead brought to you by the good folks at Platinum Mitsubishi. We will tell you a little bit more about them in a second here, but the road ahead starts tomorrow with the Anaheim Ducks. March the 1st kicks off at 6 p.m. The Flames actually played the late game in Anaheim. Get that. The game in Anaheim. I mean, that's not that surprising that it's the late game, but it's only at 6 p.m. and it is the last game on the docket.
5 p.m. local.
It's
wow. Did the league just want to just shut the lights? They're like, it's March. Screw it.
Super weird. I mean, it's a Sunday. I get it.
Pittsburgh and LA or Pittsburgh and Vegas are playing at
11 a.m.
Yeah. That's what time is that local? Also 11?
No,
because Vegas is the
1 p.m.
They're in that weird time zone.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's a 1 p.m. game.
God, thank goodness.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
It's a weird day. Pittsburgh and Vegas at 11. We'll get into more of the out of town when we talk about Bet365. But yeah, the Flames kick off their month of March. The month of March. We'll see if they'll be munching on some L's or W's with the game in Anaheim. And then they come home for 3 straight at the Scotiabank Saddledome, which also overlaps with the trade deadline, which is on March the 6th. They play Dallas, Ottawa, and Carolina, 3 straight games at the Saddledome. 2 of them against sort of the upper echelon of contenders in the NHL. 1 of them against the Senators team that kind of beat the brakes off the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. And that's sort of the way that their month of March will play out, with games alternating between contenders and sort of scrappy teams that are trying to get back in the race.
End of the month, though, they have that road trip that just, or is that? Yeah, it sort of straddles the end of the month and into April, where it's just, that could get ugly in a hurry.
Yeah, at the end of March, it's Colorado, Vegas, Anaheim, Dallas, Colorado, Seattle.
The first time the Flames faced the Colorado Avalanche this season is game 74.
That's
they
wild.
get their entire season series in against the Colorado Avalanche
in the span
10
of games.
In the span of 2 weeks.
Yeah, they play 3 games against Colorado in the last 2 weeks of the year,
including a road trip where they start in Colorado, go to 3 other cities, fly back to Colorado, and then play a back-to-back Seattle and then back at home against Utah. Who made the schedule? Why do you face the same team twice non-consecutively on the same road trip?
It's very unclear. Yeah. Pike, the next time that I guess you're doing the show tomorrow. You're doing the Afterburner tomorrow.
I sure am.
To those of you who are sick and tired of seeing me, good news. You don't have to tune into the Warmies tomorrow, but you can tune into the Afterburner because it's going to be Cammy and Pike. And then it'll be me for the next 3 after that. Pike, I'm sure you and Cammy will talk a lot about the trade deadline tomorrow. We'll be talking about the trade deadline a lot until it happens, and probably for a little bit after that as well. what do you think, Pike? I mean, are we going to see Ryan Lomberg back in the lineup as a Calgary Flame before the trade deadline?
Yes.
Will he get traded at the deadline?
I mean, there's a good chance we see him tomorrow.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a sentimental fool like me, I'm thinking if you think there's a chance in hell that you're trading him, you probably want to give him a home game, right? Give him a chance for one more home goal, get a nice home ovation. Then he goes off to wherever he ends up. Then maybe he comes back. We'll see.
I didn't really think about that, but I suppose. Yeah, I guess.
Do you think there's a player that's more beloved by the Flame outside of maybe Dustin Wolf, a more beloved Flame right now?
Probably not. I mean, it's a hard thing to rank. It's a hard thing to quantify at this point. I suppose. Like, yeah, sure. Put Ryan Lomberg in at the Saddledome. I mean, he's gonna play like 8 minutes. Like, it's not like he's really gonna make,
Maybe he gets a goal, maybe he gets a fight. I don't know. I got time for Ryan Lomberg.
Sure. Yeah.
He does the most he can at the time he's given.
Yeah. Like, I guess. Yeah, sure. Like I could see them trading a number of guys on this roster, and it feels like we're in the middle of a lull, like in a point of stasis. And it's tough to sit in this chair and sort of repeat the same talking points because it's really all we can do at a certain point. Like, what are we going to talk about? The game?
I mean, that's what we're getting paid to do.
It was a 2-0 game.
Yeah.
With an empty net goal.
Yeah.
With no power plays.
Yeah. Against an LA team that had absolutely gotten just destroyed by Edmonton.
Stink.
Yeah. They were not good against Edmonton, and they were better against Calgary.
It was a game.
They also were playing like they wanted to avoid getting wrecked again.
It was a game between two bad teams that played badly in a badly named arena with a bad prospect pool in LA and a bad arena in Calgary. That's not true. The Saddledome's the best. Saddledome's
Security has already been informed about your comments.
Yeah, I can't even pretend to say that. The Saddledome's the best arena in the world. It's the best arena in the world, and the day that it has exploded will be the saddest day of my life. That is the road ahead. Brought to you by Platinum Mitsubishi. We really didn't talk a whole lot about the road ahead, but they're games.
They got Anaheim.
They got games,
and they got 3 home games.
Yeah,
and then in between the 3 home games, the trade deadline.
Yeah,
and then whoever's left will be playing on the road the week after that.
Yeah, Platinum Mitsubishi Pike. It's a good spot. No segue here because they sell cars, not segways. It's the home of the Outlander and the Outlander PHEV.
Okay, what does the P in PHEV stand for?
Plug-in
electric vehicle?
Plug-in hybrid electric vehicle.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
PHEV. They're cool.
PHEVs,
PHEVs are the future. I think in the next 10 years, we'll all be driving PHEVs. People are afraid of electric vehicles. Here's the 2026 Outlander PHEV. Ooh. People are a little, skittish when it comes to full electric, which is why PHEVs are so good because they give you the battery. You can drive your normal daily commute just on battery. And when you need to get out of town or when you need to do something in an emergency, you're running out of battery, you got a gas tank that you're tapping into. And new for 2026, that battery is 18% larger. It's up to 72 kilometers of all electric range. And then, of course, you got the gas to kick in whenever you need it to.
So you get both?
You get both.
It's kind of nice.
That's the whole appeal of it.
It's like how Dustin Wolf has Devin Cooley.
That's right. Exactly. You got a backup. And
you might not need the backup, but it's good to have a good backup.
And the better the backup is, the better the car is. And the better the team is.
You just sleep better.
It's like a good backup. That's right. That's perfect. 10-year warranty on all those components, the engine and the transmission and the battery and what have you. Up at Platinum Mitsubishi, 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast. It's a good spot. And they are the sponsors of the road ahead. We'll move forward and talk a little bit about Pike. What did you do during the Olympics? How did you enjoy your break? What did you do during your time off?
I watched hockey.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of hockey.
Yeah. Jack is in the background here. We just heard a slurp. What the hell was that?
Oh, sorry.
Good Lord. Jack, what did you do during your break?
We were in Banff.
You're in Banff. What'd you do?
We were just watch the games and film some stuff. I was with the boys.
Yeah, you were at the boys. That's right.
Yes.
You and your are you the chaperone? Are they?
No, I was not the chaperone on this trip.
You weren't.
No.
Yeah.
RJ was.
Smash cut to a picture of Jack just asleep in a ditch.
Yeah. And then you Then you have Red around going, oh, Jack, get over.
Okay, we have to have like a network-wide rule that Gould's not allowed to do impressions because they're not good.
Not really. We need to film some stuff for that. I don't really want to do it, but we can Tinder something. Film. That's my ret. I think it's pretty good. Oh, we don't have anything.
What do we have left to do
going on tonight? Let's take a look at tomorrow's.
I'm as sick as Cammy is right now. I'm actually envious of her because her experience with Gould is a lot shorter than mine.
Let's go take a look at the games on
Cammy,
tap tomorrow.
we hope you feel better.
Let's take a look at the games on tap for tomorrow with Bet365. Where it's never ordinary. Download that app and get it on the game. Use the code NATION. And tomorrow, Pike, Flames are in action. We've got those odds along with the rest of the slate. 6 games on tap.
A whole bunch of games.
Yeah.
Games starting at 11 a.m. Mountain Time.
And going until about 6.
And as we learned during the Olympics, you know what time zone is best to watch sports in? Mountain Time. Those suckers in the East, you're trying to watch your Toronto Maple Leafs and they come to Calgary. Screw you. They're playing at 10 o'clock Eastern. You get to stay up late. But if you're in the Mountain Time zone, all the games are at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Mountain Time for people who like watching sports at decent enough time.
It's brilliant. Flames are not the favorites tomorrow. They're plus 145. The Ducks at minus 170.
It is what's known as a scheduled loss. The Ducks have been idle of the Flames played today.
Which is funny because the Flames are 9-0-1 in their last 10 games at the Honda Center, which is crazy.
After the curse of the Honda Center.
14 years of not winning a single regular season game there.
After they brought the little stuffed animal there.
Jobu.
Yeah, they did a ceremony and they got rid of the curse and they actually went on a winning streak for several years after that.
My bet might actually be on the Blues. Blues are at plus 205 against the Minnesota Wild. But they got Dylan Holloway back, and I really like him. And so I would maybe say go for St. Louis. I also don't mind that Blackhawks Mammoth one just because the Mammoth did they play today? I guess the Blackhawks played today as well. I don't know. Maybe the Mammoth aren't such a bad bet there.
Florida Islanders is a low-key entertaining matchup, though, because I don't know, the Islanders have been really fun this year.
Yeah, Matthew Schaefer. I mean, you said it. He's the Calder front runner. He'll win it. Some decent games on tap tomorrow. And Pike, you know what? If you're in the mood for it, it's not a bad idea. Why don't you just go start in the morning over at the Unicorn? Just go start in the morning over at the Unicorn. Just say
which floor.
Well, I don't know. I'm the
one on 4th.
The one on the 4th only has the one floor. You can go to the Classic
because they got 3 floors.
They got 3 floors.
If you can watch a game on each of the floors,
and
so each game feels like a new experience.
Yeah, you're just leveling up each time. Tell them to put the games on. I'm sure they've got all the packages. I mean, of course they do. They're Calgary Super Pub. They're the sports cantina. Sooner or later they'll have the World Cup on TV. They had all the events of the Olympics on TV. I mean, I know people were going to the Unicorn to watch double luge. Did you watch any of the doubles luge?
I now watch doubles luge. I was really captivated with all the chicanery and the drama of men's curling.
Yeah.
So I didn't have enough gas in the tank to go.
Was it the luge or the skeleton where they had the guys stacked on top of each other?
I think that's both.
I don't know if they do the doubles in both. I think it was the skeleton actually, where they had guys who were like stacked on top of each other.
Skeleton is your heads forward. Luge is head back.
Maybe it was luge then. I just remember it looked ridiculous. It was my favorite event of the whole games. It was just I don't understand how that even becomes a sport. But anyway, they've got it all on. They got probably all 6 games on tomorrow. So head on over to the Unicorn, 223 8th Ave Southwest or 1919 4th Street Southwest. If you're in the Southwest, there's no excuse not to go to the Unicorn because you got 2 opportunities to go there based on where you're at. So head on over and watch some sports. Pike, anything else we got to discuss tonight? Andrew Bosch has got a goal and 2 assists for Medicine Hat against the Calgary Hitmen.
He was very noticeable. They got 1 period left too, so we're going to add to it. He had an assist in their overtime win on Friday evening at the palatial, the historic, the majestic Scotiabank Saddledome. And yeah, he's been pretty good. His face-off numbers are perfectly adequate for someone who hasn't played a lot of center at low hockey. 9 for 14 tonight, actually.
Not bad.
One goal, 2 assists, plus 3 shots, and a minor penalty. What was the penalty for? It better have been something cool.
Unsportsmanlike.
High sticking.
Oh,
I don't know, man.
that's not that
Okay,
cool.
yeah, we'll ding him for that. But I mean,
Both the Flames 2024 center or second round picks are trying to learn center this year.
this is a rare game too. That Axel Hurtig is a minus,
There we go.
but he has an assist, so he's forgiven.
There we go. We will leave things off tonight with our perennial super chat from RB about Mackenzie Weegar. Super chat.
Ooh, how is Mackenzie? Hold on, I gotta find. This is our thing. I gotta find Mackenzie Weegar's stats line before we show this.
All right.
Hold on. Okay, I have it.
You got it. Okay, tell us, Pike.
Mackenzie Weegar, 23-17 time on ice, 1 shot, -2.
Okay.
All right, what do you got?
This is from RB, who we have come to expect this from. $13.99 from RB to the youth centers of Calgary. They are very, very grateful. And we'll just leave off with this message. Pike! You know what? I'll read this in the Rhett voice. Pike,
you don't have an RB J5VO voice.
Weegar was -2 tonight in that 2-0 game and is now -33. Worst in the NHL. I would have never done that in my time as a Flames defenseman. Still a top defenseman. He's declining fast and at 32 and should be traded. No, Mike. He's not going to rebound next year. Wee biggle. That's my... get Jack out of here. Get a new producer.
I do think "wee biggle" is a very funny term, and I commend you for that. The clever turn of phrase, sir.
Wee biggle.
Well done.
That's not bad.
And if we're gonna not throwing stones here, Rhett Warner during his majestic, how many games did he play? I have to be statistically accurate. During his 714 game National Hockey League career. During his worst season, 97-98, Rhett Warner was -16. If you wipe out that season and go, yeah, what his second worst season? His second worst season, he was a -2. And that was the year he played with like a shoulder that was barely a shoulder in 07-08. So
I was never half as bad as that Weegar guy is.
Yeah, let's see Rhett Warner. Despite what has been attributed to me, nowhere near overrated. I think he was both either appropriately rated or, dare I say, underrated for his level of contribution and his position in the lineup.
I think Rhett is a great guy, and I imitate and I impersonate out of a place of great respect.
Oh, he's gonna see this. Jack's gonna make sure this gets clipped for him, and he's gonna make sure that Rhett sees very specific curated portions of this, and. I don't know if you're going to be around deadline day, you might not last to 1 p.m. Mountain Time.
We have another super chat, and it's from RB again, 279. I didn't even know RB was still in the chat. Warner was a career +76 and better than Weegar.
Wow.
I don't know.
+76 is indisputable, and he went to 3 Stanley Cup finals. So
Weegar hasn't been to 1. No, he hasn't been to 1. That's right. Missed out on those Florida ones. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Hey, you can rag on Rhett for wherever you want to rag on, and that is you're well within your rights, but he plays some damn good hockey.
And he can make some fine meats on his barbecue.
I don't know, I assume so.
Weegar probably can too.
Yeah.
Probably fine with the smokers.
This is a pro Rhett.
Absolutely.
Show. We're not necessarily anti any particular people or players, but we're pro Rhett.
No, we are very favorable towards number 44.
I mean, I am. I don't know how we could say it.
I'm a huge fan. I only impersonate people who I like. Man,
that means you don't like Boomer or Pender?
Well,
wow.
That is a different sentence. That is a different sentence. I can do that. Well, the Flames gained 2 points in the McKenna sweepstakes. They've struggled to score goals. That's my. I mean, doing a Pinder is basically just talking in my own voice. We kind of just talk the same way.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
He's a better broadcaster, but better broadcaster than me.
He's got better hair than you too.
No,
he can grow a full beard.
Yeah, well, that's different.
Yeah, kids are both pretty good at hockey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, if we're gonna go down that road, I don't think you're gonna win that competition either.
No, that's right. Ryan Pike to my left. My name is Mike Gould. For our producer Jack, out in the ether, wherever he is.
Parts unknown.
Yeah, we thank all the good folks over at Bet365 and the Youth Centers of Calgary, the Derek Newman Group, Platinum Mitsubishi, and the Unicorn at both spots on 4th Street and 8th Avenue. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back at it tomorrow. I'll be on the Warmies. Pike and Cammy will be on the Afterburner show as the Calgary Flames take on the Anaheim Ducks. For tonight, the Calgary Flames lose 2-0 to the Los Angeles Kings. And the biggest loss of all is me attempting to do a Rhett Warrener impression. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been your latest edition of the Afterburner.